Welcome everybody, this is Alan with Daily Armor of God. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you're all doing well. This is reading the Old Testament in 88 days. We're on day 39. We'll be reading 2 Kings chapters 11 through 18. So, getting right into it in 2 Kings 11, verse 1. And when Athaliah, the mother of Azariah, saw that her son was dead, she arose and destroyed all the seed royal. But Jehosheba, the daughter of King Joram, sister of Azariah, took Joash, the son of Azariah, and stole him from among the king's sons which were slain, and they hid him, even him and his nurse, in the bedchamber from Athaliah, so that he was not slain. And he was with her hid in the house of Yahweh 6 years, and Athaliah did reign over the land. The 7th year, Jehoiada sent and fetched the rulers over hundreds with the captains and the guard, and brought them to him in the house of Yahweh, and made a covenant with them, and took an oath of them in the house of Yahweh, and showed them the king's son. And he commanded them, saying, This is they that shall do. A third part of you that enter in on the Sabbath shall even be keepers of the watch of the house of the king's house. And a third part shall be at the gate of Sur, and a third part the gate behind the guard. So shall ye keep the watch of the house, so that it be not broken down. And 2 parts of all you that go forth on the Sabbath, even they shall keep the watch of the house of Yahweh about the king. Ye shall compass the king round about, every man with his weapons in his hand, and he that cometh within the ranges, let him be slain. And be ye with the king as he goeth out, and as he cometh in. And the captains over the hundreds did according to all the things that Jehoiada the priest commanded. And they took every man his men that were to come in on the Sabbath, with them that they should go out on the Sabbath, and they came to Jehoiada the priest. And the captains over the hundreds did the priest give King David spears and shields that were in the temple of Yahweh. And the guard stood every man with his weapons in hand round about the king, from the right corner of the temple to the left corner of the temple, along by the altar in the temple. And he brought forth the king's son, and put the crown upon him, and gave him the testimony, and they made him king, and anointed him. And they clapped their hands, and said, Elohim save the king. And when Athaliah heard the noise of the guard, and of the people, she came to the people into the temple of Yahweh. When she looked, behold, the king stood by a pillar, as the manner was, and the princes and the trumpeters by the king, and all the people of the land rejoiced and blew with trumpets. And Athaliah rent her clothes and cried, Treason, treason! But Jehoiada the priest commanded the captains of hundreds, the officers of the host, and said unto them, Have her forth without the ranges, and him that followeth her kill her with the sword. For the priest had said, Let her not be slain in the house of Yahweh. And they laid hands on her, and she went by the way by the which the horses came into the king's house, and there was she slain. Jehoiada made a covenant between Yahweh and the king and the people, that they should be Yahweh's people, between the king also and the people. And all the people of the land went into the house of Baal, and brake it down, his altars and his images they brake in pieces thoroughly, and slew Mattan the priest of Baal before the altars. And the priests appointed officers over the house of Yahweh. And he took the rulers over hundreds, and the captains and the guard, and all the people of the land, and they brought down the king from the house of Yahweh, and came by the way of the gate of the guard to the king's house. And he sat on the throne of the kings. And all the people of the land rejoiced, and the city was in quiet, and they slew Athaliah with the sword beside the king's house. 7 years old was Joash when he began to reign. 2 Kings 12. In the 7th year of Jehu, Joash began to reign, and 40 years reigned he in Jerusalem, and his mother's name was Zibiah of Beersheba. And Joash did that which was right in the sight of Yahweh all his days wherein Jehoiada the priest instructed him. But the high places were not taken away. The people still sacrificed and burnt incense in the high places. And Joash said to the priests, All the money of the dedicated things that is brought into the house of Yahweh, even the money of every one that passeth the account, the money that every man is set at, and all the money that cometh into any man's heart to bring into the house of Yahweh. Let the priests take it to them, every man of his acquaintance. Let them repair the breaches of the house, wheresoever any breach shall be found. But it was so that in the 23rd year of King Joash the priests had not repaired the breaches of the house. Then King Joash called for Jehoiada the priest and the other priests, and said unto them, Why repair ye not the breaches of the house? Now therefore receive no more money of your acquaintance, but deliver it for the breaches of the house. And the priests consented to receive no more money of the people, neither to repair the breaches of the house. But Jehoiada the priest took a chest and bored a hole in the lid of it, and set it beside the altar on the right side, as one cometh into the house of Yahweh. And the priest that kept the door put therein all the money that was brought into the house of Yahweh. And it was so, when they saw that there was much money in the chest, that the king's scribe and the high priest came up, and they put up in bags and told the money that was found in the house of Yahweh. They gave the money, being told, into the hands of them that did the work, that had the oversight of the house of Yahweh, and they laid it out to the carpenters and builders that wrought upon the house of Yahweh, and to the masons and hewers of stone, and to buy timber, hewed stone, to repair the breaches of the house of Yahweh, and for all that was laid out for the house to repair it. Albeit there were not made for the house of Yahweh bowls of silver, snuffers, basins, trumpets, and any vessels of gold or vessels of silver of the money that was brought into the house of Yahweh. They gave that to the workmen, and repaired therewith the house of Yahweh. Moreover, they reckoned not with the men into whose hand they delivered the money to be bestowed on workmen, for they dealt faithfully. The trespass money and sin money was not brought into the house of Yahweh, it was the priests. Then Hazael king of Syria went up and fought against Gath, and took it, and Hazael sent his face to go up to Jerusalem. Joash king of Judah took all the hallowed things that Jehoshaphat and Jeroboam and Azariah his fathers king of Judah had dedicated, and his own hallowed things, and all the gold that was found in the treasures of the house of Yahweh, and in the king's house, and sent it to Hazael king of Syria, and he went away from Jerusalem. The rest of the acts of Joash and all that he did, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Judah? And his servants arose and made a conspiracy, and slew Joash in the house of Milo, which goeth down to Selah. For Jozachar the son of Shimeath and Jehozabad the son of Shomer, his servants smote him, and he died, and they buried him with his fathers in the city of David, and Amaziah his son reigned in his stead. Even though he was doing right, he still ended up being conspired against and killed. That's sad. 2 Kings 13:1. In the 23rd year of Joash, the son of Uzziah, king of Judah, Jehoaz, the son of Jehu, began to reign over Israel, Samaria, and reigned 17 years. And he did that which was evil in the sight of Yahweh, and followed the sins of Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, which made Israel to sin. He departed not therefrom. The anger of Yahweh was kindled against Israel, and he delivered them into the hand of Hazael king of Syria, into the hand of Benhadad the son of Hazael all their days. And Jehoaz besought Yahweh, and Yahweh hearkened unto him, for he saw the oppression of Israel, because the king of Syria oppressed them. Yahweh gave Israel a savior, so that they went out from under the hand of the Syrians, and the children of Israel went in their tents and as beforetime. Nevertheless they departed not from the sins of the house of Jeroboam, who made Israel to sin, but walked therein, and there remained the grove also in Samaria. Neither did he leave of the people to Jehoaz but 50 horsemen and 10 chariots and 10,000 footmen, for the king of Syria had destroyed them, and had made them like the dust by threshing. Now the rest of the acts of Jehoaz, and all that he did in his might, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Israel? And Jehoaz slept with his fathers, and they buried him in Samaria, and Jehoash his son reigned in his stead. In the 37th year of Joash king of Judah began Jehoash the son of Jehoaz to reign over Israel in Samaria, and reigned 16 years. And he did that which was evil in the sight of Yahweh. He departed not from all the sins of Jeroboam the son of Nebat, who made Israel to sin, but he walked therein. In the rest of the acts of Joash, all that he did, and his might, wherewith he fought against Amaziah king of Judah, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Israel? And Joash slept with his fathers, and Jeroboam sat upon his throne, and Joash was buried in Samaria with the kings of Israel. Now Elisha was fallen sick of his sickness whereof he died. And Joash the king of Israel came down unto him and wept over his face and said, O father, my father, the chariot of Israel and the horsemen thereof. Elisha said unto him, Take bow and arrows. And he took him bow and arrows. He said to the king of Israel, Put thine hand upon the bow. And he put his hand upon it. And Elisha put his hands on the king's hands. And he said, Open the window eastward. And he opened it. Then Elisha said, Shoot. And he shot. And he said, The arrow of Yahweh's deliverance, and the arrow of deliverance from Syria. For thou shalt smite the Syrians in effect, till thou have consumed them. And he said, Take the arrows. And he took them. And he said unto the king of Israel, Smite upon the ground. And he smote thrice and stayed. And the man of Elohim was wroth with him, and said, Thou shouldest have smitten 5 or 6 times, then thou hast smitten Syria, till thou hast consumed it. Whereas now thou shalt smite Israel but thrice. And Elisha died, and they buried him. And the bands of the Moabites invaded the land at the coming in of the year. And it came to pass, as they were burying a man, that, behold, they spied a band of men. And they cast the man into the sepulchre of Elisha. And when the man was let down, and touched the bones of Elisha, he revived, and stood up on his feet. But Hazael king of Syria oppressed Israel all the days of Jehoaz. And Yahweh was gracious unto them, and had compassion on them, and had respect unto them because of his covenant with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and would not destroy them, neither cast he them from his presence as yet. So Hazael king of Syria died, and Benhadad his son reigned in his stead. And Jehoash the son of Jehoaz took again of the hand of Benhadad the son of Hazael the cities which he had taken out of the hand of Jehoaz his father by war. 3 times did Joash beat him, and recovered the cities of Israel. 2 Kings 14. In the 2nd year of Joash son of Jehoaz king of Israel reigned Amaziah the son of Joash king of Judah. He was 25 years old when he began to reign. He reigned 29 years in Jerusalem, and his mother's name was Jehoaddan of Jerusalem. He did that which was right in the sight of Yahweh, yet not like David his father. He did according to all the things as Joash his father did. Howbeit, the high places were not taken away, as yet the people did sacrifice and burnt incense on the high places. And it came to pass, as soon as the kingdom was confirmed in his hand, that he slew his servants which he had slain, the king his father. But the children of the murderers he slew not, according unto that which is written in the book of the law of Moses, wherein Yahweh commanded, saying, The fathers shall not be put to death for the children, nor the children be put to death for the fathers, but every man shall be put to death for his own sin. He slew of Edom in the valley of Salt 10,000. He took Selah by war, and called the name of Joktheel unto this day. Then Amaziah sent messengers to Jehoash, the son of Jehoaz, son of Jehu, king of Israel, saying, Come, let us look one another in the face. And Jehoash, the king of Israel, sent to Amaziah, king of Judah, saying, The thistle that was in Lebanon sent to the cedar that was in Lebanon, saying, Give thy daughter to my son to wife. And there passed a wild beast that was in Lebanon, and trode down the thistle. Thou hast indeed smitten Edom, and thine heart has lifted thee up. Glory of this, and tarry at home. For why shouldest thou meddle to thy hurt, that thou shouldest fall, even thou and Judah with thee? Amaziah would not hear. Therefore Jehoash king of Israel went up, and he and Amaziah king of Judah looked one another in the face at Bethshemesh, which belonged to Judah. And Judah was put to the worst before Israel, and they fled every man to their tents. And Jehoash king of Israel took Amaziah king of Judah, the son of Jehoash, the son of Azariah, at Bethshemesh, and came to Jerusalem, and brake down the wall of Jerusalem from the gate of Ephraim unto the corner gate 400 cubits. And he took all the gold and silver, and all the vessels that were found in the house of Yahweh, and in the treasures of the king's house, and hostages, and returned to Samaria. Now the rest of the acts of Jehoash, which he did in his might, and how he fought with Amaziah, king of Judah, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Israel? And Jehoash slept with his fathers, and was buried in Samaria with the kings of Israel, and Jeroboam his son reigned in his stead. And Amaziah the son of Jehoash, king of Judah, lived after the death of Joash son of Jehoaz, king of Israel, 15 years. And the rest of the acts of Amaziah, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Judah? Now they made a conspiracy against him in Jerusalem, and he fled to Lachish, but they sent after him to Lachish and slew him there. They brought him on horses, and he was buried at Jerusalem with his fathers in the city of David. And all the people of Judah took Azariah, which was 16 years old, and made him king instead of his father Amaziah. But he built Elath and restored it to Judah. After that the king slept with his fathers. In the 15th year of Amaziah the son of Joash, king of Judah, Jeroboam, the son of Joash, king of Israel, began to reign in Samaria, and he reigned 41 years. And he did that which was evil in the sight of Yahweh. He departed not from all the sins of Jeroboam the son of Nebat, who made Israel to sin. He restored the coast of Israel from the entering of Hamath unto the sea of the plain, according to the word of Yahweh, Elohim of Israel, which he spake by the hand of his servant Jonah, the son of Amittai, the prophet, which was of Gath-hepher. For Yahweh saw the affliction of Israel, that it was very bitter, for there was not any shut up, nor any left, nor any helper for Israel. Yahweh said not that he would blot out the name of Israel from under heaven, but he saved them by the hand of Jeroboam the son of Joash. Now the rest of the acts of Jeroboam, and all that he did in his might, how he warred, and how he recovered Damascus and Hamath, which belonged to Judah for Israel, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Israel? And Jeroboam slept with his fathers, even with the kings of Israel, and Zechariah's son reigned in his stead. 2 Kings 15. In the 27th year of Jeroboam king of Israel began Azariah the son of Amaziah king of Judah to reign. 16 years old was he when he began to reign, and he reigned 52 years in Jerusalem, and his mother's name was Jecholiah of Jerusalem. And he did that which was right in the sight of Yahweh, according to all that his father Amaziah had done, save that the high places were not removed. The people sacrificed and burnt incense still on the high places. And Yahweh smote the king so that he was a leper unto the day of his death, and dwelt in a several house. And Jotham the king's son was over the house, judging the people of the land. See, I don't get this. Just real quick, I don't get why the one king, or there's very few kings who did right in the sight of God, Yahweh, but the one king who did right in the sight of Yahweh, Yahweh smote him. Why? But all those evil, wicked kings, he didn't smite. I mean, I don't get it. Anyway, 2 Kings 15:6. The rest of the acts of Azariah and all that he did, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Judah? Azariah slept with his fathers, and they buried him with his fathers in the city of David, and Jotham his son reigned in his stead. The 38th year of Azariah king of Judah did Zechariah the son of Jeroboam reign over Israel in Samaria 6 months. He did that which was evil in the sight of Yahweh, as his fathers had done. He departed not from the sins of Jeroboam the son of Nebat, who made Israel to sin. And Shallum the son of Jabesh conspired against him, and smote him before the people, and slew him, and reigned in his stead. The rest of the acts of Zechariah, behold, they are written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Israel. This was the word of Yahweh, which he spake unto Jehu, saying, Thy son shall sit on the throne of Israel unto the 4th generation. And so it came to pass. Shallum the son of Jabesh began to reign in the 39th year of Uzziah, king of Judah. He reigned a full month in Samaria. For Menhanam the son of Gadi went up from Tirzah, and came to Samaria, and smote Shallum the son of Jabesh in Samaria, and slew him, and reigned in his stead. And the rest of the acts of Shallum and his conspiracy which he made, behold, they are written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Israel. And Menhanam smote Tipshah and all that were therein, and the coast thereof from Tirzah, because they opened not to him. Therefore he smote it, and all the women therein that were with child he ripped up. In the 39th year of Azariah king of Judah began Menhanam the son of Gadi to reign over Israel, and reigned 10 years in Samaria. And he did that which was evil in the sight of Yahweh, and departed not all his days from the sins of Jeroboam the son of Nebat, who made Israel to sin. And Pul the king of Assyria came against the land, and Menhanam gave Pul 1,000 talents of silver, that his hand might be with him to confirm the kingdom in his hand. And Menhanam exacted the money of Israel, even of all the mighty men of wealth, of each man 50 shekels of silver, to give to the king of Assyria. So the king of Assyria turned back, and stayed not there in the land. And the rest of the acts of Menhanam, and all that he did, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Israel? And Menhanam slept with his fathers, and Pekaya his son reigned in his stead. In the 50th year of Azariah, king of Judah, Picaya the son of Menhanam began to reign over Israel in Samaria, and reigned 2 years. And he did that which was evil in the sight of Yahweh. He departed not from the sins of Jeroboam the son of Nebat, who made Israel to sin. But Pekka the son of Amalia, a captain of his, conspired against him and smote him in Samaria, in the palace of the king's house, with Argob and Ariah, and with him 50 men of the Galileans, and he killed him and reigned in his room. And the rest of the acts of Pekah and all that he did, behold, they are written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Israel. In the 52nd year of Azariah king of Judah, Pekah the son of Amalia began to reign over Israel and Samaria, and reigned 20 years. And he did that which was evil in the sight of Yahweh. He departed not from the sins of Jeroboam the son of Nebat, who made Israel to sin. In the days of Pekah king of Israel came Tiglath-Pileser king of Assyria, and took Ijon, and Abel-Maachah, and Janoah, and Kadesh, and Hazor, and Gilead, and Galilee, and the land of Naphtali, and carried them captive to Assyria. And Hosea the son of Elah made a conspiracy against Pekah the son of Amalia, and smote him and slew him, and reigned in his stead in the 20th year of Jotham the son of Uzziah. And the rest of the acts of Pekah and all that he did, behold, they are written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Israel. In the 2nd year of Pekah the son of Amalia, king of Israel, began Jotham the son of Uzziah, king of Judah, to reign. 25 years old was he when he began to reign, and he reigned 16 years in Jerusalem. And his mother's name was Jerusha, the daughter of Zadok. And he did that which was right in the sight of Yahweh, and did according to all that his father Uzziah had done, howbeit the high places were not removed. People sacrificed and burnt incense still in the high places. He built the higher gate of the house of Yahweh. Now the rest of the acts of Jotham and all that he did, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Judah? In those days Yahweh began to send against Judah Rezin the king of Syria, and Pekah the son of Amalia. Jotham slept with his fathers, and was buried with his fathers in the city of David his father, and Ahaz his son reigned in his stead. 2 Kings 16. In the 17th year of Pekah the son of Amalia, Ahaz the son of Jotham king of Judah began to reign. 20 years old was Ahaz when he began to reign, and reigned 16 years in Jerusalem, and did not that which was right in the sight of Yahweh his Elohim, like David his father. But he walked in the way of the kings of Israel, yea, and he made his son to pass through the fire, according to the abominations of the heathen, whom Yahweh cast out from before the children of Israel. And he sacrificed and burnt incense in the high places, and on the hills, and under every green tree. Then Rezin king of Syria, and Pekah son of Amalia king of Israel, came up to Jerusalem to war, and they besieged Ahaz, but could not overcome him. At that time Rezin king of Syria recovered Elath to Syria, and drave the Jews from Elath, and the Syrians came to Elath, and dwelt there unto this day. So Ahaz sent messengers to Tiglath-Pileser king of Assyria, saying, I am thy servant and thy son, come up and save me out of the hand of the king of Syria, and out of the hand of the king of Israel, which riseth up against me. Ahaz took the silver and gold that was found in the house of Yahweh, and the treasures of the king's house, and sent it for a present to the king of Assyria. And the king of Assyria hearkened unto him, for the king of Assyria went up against Damascus, and took it, and carried the people of it captive to Kir, and slew Rezin. And King Ahaz went to Damascus to meet Tiglath-Pileser, king of Assyria, and saw an altar that was at Damascus. And King Ahaz sent to Uzzah, the priest, the fashion of the altar, and the pattern of it, according to all the workmanship thereof. And Urijah the priest built an altar according to all that King Ahaz had sent from Damascus. So Urijah the priest made it against King Ahaz came from Damascus. And when the king was come from Damascus, the king saw the altar, and the king approached to the altar and offered thereon. And he burnt his burnt offering and his meat offering, and poured his drink offering, and sprinkled the blood of his peace offerings upon the altar. And he brought also the brassen altar which was before Yahweh, from the forefront of the house, from between the altar and the house of Yahweh, and put it on the north side of the altar. And King Ahaz commanded Urijah the priest, saying, Upon the great altar burn the morning burnt offering, and the evening meat offering, and the king's burnt sacrifice, and his meat offering, with the burnt offering of all the people of the land, and their meat offering, and their drink offerings, and sprinkle upon it all the blood of the burnt offering, and all the blood of the sacrifice, and the brazen altar shall be for me to inquire by. Thus did Arijah the priest according to all that the king Ahaz commanded. And King Ahaz cut off the borders of the bases and removed the laver from them, and took down the sea from off the brazen oxen that were under it, and put it upon a pavement of stones. And the covert for the Sabbath that they had built in the house in the king's entry without turned he from the house of Yahweh for the king of Assyria. Now the rest of the acts of Ahaz which he did, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Israel, of Judah? Ahaz slept with his fathers and was buried with his fathers in the city of David, and Hezekiah his son reigned in his stead. 2 Kings 17. The 12th year of Ahaz king of Judah began Hoshea the son of Elah to reign in Samaria over Israel 9 years. And he did that which was evil in the sight of Yahweh, but not as the kings of Israel that were before him. Against him came up Shalmaneser, king of Assyria, and Hoshea became his servant and gave him presents. And the king of Assyria found conspiracy in Hoshea, for he had sent messengers to So, king of Egypt, and brought no present to the king of Assyria, and he had done year by year. Therefore the king of Assyria shut him up and bound him in prison. Then the king of Assyria came up throughout all the land, and went up to Samaria and besieged it 3 years. In the 9th year of Hoshea, the king of Assyria took Samaria, and carried Israel away into Assyria, and placed them in Halah, and in the harbor by the river Gozan, and the cities of Medes. For it was so that the children of Israel had sinned against Yahweh their Elohim, which had brought them out of the land of Egypt from under the hand of Pharaoh king of Egypt, as had feared other gods, and walked in the statutes of the heathen, whom Yahweh cast out from before the children of Israel, and from the kings of Israel which they had made. And the children of Israel did secretly those things that were not right against Yahweh their Elohim, and they built them high places in all their cities, from the tower of the watchman to the fenced city. And they set them up images in groves in every high hill and under every green tree, and there they burnt incense in all the high places, and did as the heathen did, heathen whom Yahweh carried away before them, and wrought wicked things to provoke Yahweh to anger. For they served idols whereof Yahweh had said unto them, Ye shall not do this thing. Yet Yahweh testified against Israel and against Judah by all the prophets and by all the seers, saying, Turn ye from your evil ways, and keep my commandments and my statutes, according to all the law which I had commanded your fathers, and which I sent to you by my servants the prophets. Notwithstanding they would not hear, but hardened their necks like to the neck of their fathers, that did not believe in Yahweh their Elohim. And they rejected his statutes and his covenant that he made with their fathers, and his testimonies which he testified against them. And they followed vanity, and became vain, and went after the heathen that were round about them, concerning whom Yahweh had charged them, that they should not do like them. They left all the commandments of Yahweh their Elohim, and made them molten images, even 2 calves, made a grove, and worshipped all the host of heaven, and served Baal. And they caused their sons and their daughters to pass through the fire, and used divination and enchantments, and sold themselves to do evil in the sight of Yahweh, to provoke him to anger. Therefore Yahweh was very angry with Israel, and removed them out of his sight. There was none left but the tribe of Judah only. Also Judah kept not the commandments of Yahweh their Elohim, but walked in the statutes of Israel which they made. And Yahweh rejected all the seed of Israel, and afflicted them, and delivered them into the hand of spoilers, until he had cast them out of his sight. For he rent Israel from before the house of David, and they made Jeroboam the son of Nebat king, and Jeroboam drave Israel from following Yahweh, and made them sin a great sin. The children of Israel walked in all the sins of Jeroboam, which he did, and they departed not from them, until Yahweh removed Israel out of his sight, as he had said by all his servants the prophets. So was Israel carried away out of their own land to Assyria unto this day. The king of Assyria brought men from Babylon, and from Cutha, and from Ava, and from Hamath, and from Sepharvaim, and placed them in cities of Samaria instead of the children of Israel, and they possessed Samaria and dwelt in the cities thereof. So it was at the beginning of their dwelling there that they feared not Yahweh. Therefore Yahweh sent lions among them, which slew some of them. Therefore they spake to the king of Assyria, saying, The nations which thou hast removed and placed in the cities of Samaria know not the manner of Elohim, of the land. Therefore he hath sent lions among them, and behold, they slay them, because they know not the manner of Elohim in the land. Then the king of Assyria commanded, saying, Carry thither one of the priests whom ye brought from thence, and let them go and dwell there, and let him teach the manner of Elohim of the land. Then one of the priests, whom they had carried away from Samaria, came and dwelt in Bethel, and taught them how they should fear Yahweh. Howbeit every nation made gods of their own, and put them in the houses of the high places which the Samaritans had made, every nation in their cities wherein they dwelt. And the men of Babylon made Succoth-Benoth, and the men of Cuth made Nergal, and the men of Hamath made Ashima. And the Avites made Nibhaz and Tartak. And the Sephirites burnt their children in fire to Adramelech and Anamelech, the gods of Sepharvaim. So they feared Yahweh, and made unto themselves the lowest of the priests of the high places, which sacrificed for them in the houses of the high places. They feared Yahweh, and they served their own gods, after the manner of the nations whom they carried away from thence. And to this day they do after the former manners. They fear not Yahweh, neither do they after their statutes, or after their ordinances, or after the law and commandment which Yahweh commanded the children of Jacob, whom he named Israel, with whom Yahweh had made a covenant, and charged them, saying, Ye shall not fear other gods, nor bow yourselves to them, nor serve them, nor sacrifice to them. But Yahweh, who brought you up out of the land of Egypt with great power and stretched out arm, him shall ye fear, and him shall ye worship, and him shall ye do sacrifice. And the statutes and the ordinances and the law and the commandment which he wrote for you, ye shall observe to do for evermore. Ye shall not fear other gods. The covenant I have made with you, ye shall not forget, neither shall you fear other gods. But Yahweh, your Elohim, ye shall fear, and he shall deliver you out to the hand of all your enemies. Howbeit they did not hearken, but they did after their former manner. So these nations feared Yahweh and served their graven images, both their children and their children's children, as did their fathers. So do they until this day. Oh man, sad. 2 Kings 18. Now it came to pass in the 3rd year of Hosea, son of Elah, king of Israel, that Hezekiah the son of Ahaz, king of Judah, began to reign. 25 years old was he when he began to reign, and he reigned 29 years in Jerusalem. His mother's name also was Abi, the daughter of Zechariah. And he did that which was right in the sight of Yahweh, according to all that David his father did. He removed the high places, yea, finally, right? After how many years? He removed the high places, and brake the images, and cut down the groves, and brake the pieces of the brazen serpent that Moses had made. For unto those days the children of Israel did burn incense to it, and he called it Neshutan. He trusted in Yahweh, Elohim of Israel, so that after him was none like him among all the kings of Judah, nor any that were before him. For he clave to Yahweh, and departed not from following him, but kept his commandments which Yahweh commanded Moses. And Yahweh was with him, and he prospered whithersoever he went forth. And he rebelled against the king of Assyria, and served him not. He smote the Philistines even unto Gaza, and the borders thereof, from the tower of the watchman to the fenced city. And it came to pass in the 4th year of King Hezekiah, which was the 7th year of Hosea, king of Elah, king of Israel, that Shalmaneser, king of Assyria, came up against Samaria, and besieged it. At the end of the 3 years they took it, even in the 6th year of Hezekiah, that is the 9th year of Hosea, king of Israel. Samaria was taken. And the king of Assyria did carry away Israel unto Assyria, and put them in Hala, and in harbor by the river Gozan, and in the cities of Medes, because they obeyed not the voice of Yahweh, their Elohim, but transgressed his covenant, and all that Moses the servant of Yahweh commanded, and would not hear him, nor do them. Now in the 14th year of King Hezekiah did Sennacherib, king of Assyria, come up against all the fenced cities of Judah, and took them. Hezekiah king of Judah sent to the king of Assyria to Lachish, saying, I have offended, return from me. That which thou puttest on me will I bear. And the king of Assyria appointed unto Hezekiah king of Judah 300 talents of silver, and 30 talents of gold. And Hezekiah gave him all the silver that was found in the house of Yahweh, and in the treasures of the king's house. At that time did Hezekiah cut off the gold from the doors of the temple of Yahweh, and from the pillars which Hezekiah king of Judah had overlaid, and gave it to the king of Assyria. The king of Assyria sent Tartan, and Rabsaris, and Rabshakeh from Lachish to King Hezekiah with a great host against Jerusalem. And they went up and came to Jerusalem, and when they were come up, they came and stood by the conduit of the upper pool, which is in the highway of the fuller's field. And when they had called the king, there came out to them Eliakim the son of Hilkiah, which was over the household, and Shebna the scribe, and Joah the son of Asaph the recorder. And Rabshakeh said unto them, Speak ye now to Hezekiah, thus saith the great king, the king of Assyria, What confidence is this wherein thou trustest? Thou sayest, But they are but vain words. I have counsel and strength for the war. Now whom dost thou trust, that thou rebellest against me? Now behold, thou trustest upon the staff of this bruised reed, even upon Egypt, on which if a man lean, it will go into his hand and pierce it. So is Pharaoh king of Egypt, unto all that trust on him. But if you say unto me, We trust in Yahweh our Elohim, is not that he, whose high places and whose altars Hezekiah hath taken away, and hath said to Judah and Jerusalem, Ye shall worship before this altar in Jerusalem? Now therefore I pray thee, give pledges to my lord the king of Assyria, and I will deliver thee 2,000 horses, if thou be able on thy part to set riders upon them. How then wilt thou turn away the face of one captain of the least of my master's servants, and put thy trust on Egypt for chariots and for horsemen? Am I now come up without Yahweh against this place to destroy it? Yahweh said to me, Go up against this land and destroy it. Then said Eliakim the son of Hilkiah, and Shebna, and Joah, and unto Rabshakeh, Speak, I pray thee, to thy servants in the Syrian language, for we understand it, and talk not with us in the Jews' language, in the ears of all the people that are on the wall. But Rabshakeh said unto them, Hath my master sent to thy master, and to thee to speak these words? Hath he not sent me to the men which sit on the wall, and that they may eat their own dung, and drink their own piss with you? Then Rabshakeh stood and cried with a loud voice in the Jews' language, and spake, saying, Hear the word of the great king, the king of Assyria. Thus saith the king, Let not Hezekiah deceive you, for he shall not be able to deliver you out of his hand. Neither let Hezekiah make you trust in Yahweh, saying, Our Yahweh will surely deliver us, and this city shall not be delivered into the hand of the king of Assyria. Hearken not to a Hezekiah, for thus saith the king of Assyria, Make an agreement with me by a present, and come out to me. Then eat ye every man of his own vine, and every one of his fig tree, and drink ye every one of the waters of his cistern, until I come and take you away to a land like your own, a land of corn and wine, a land of bread and vineyards, a land of oil, olive, and honey, that ye may live and not die. And hearken not unto Hezekiah, when he persuadeth you, saying, Yahweh will deliver us. Hath any of the gods of the nations delivered at all his land out of the hand of the king of Assyria? Where are the gods of Hamath and of Arphad? Where are the gods of Shepharvaim, Hena, and Ivah? Have they delivered Samaria out of mine hand? Who are they among all the gods of the countries that have delivered their country out of mine hand, that Yahweh should deliver Jerusalem out of mine hand? But the people held their peace and answered him not a word, for the king's commandment was, saying, Answer him not. Then came Eliakim the son of Hilkiah, which was over the household, and Shebna the scribe, and Joah the son of Asaph the recorder, to Hezekiah with their clothes rent, and told him the words of Rabshakeh. Oh, wow. Trying to turn his own men against him. So, that's going to be it for today, guys. We're going to pick this up, the rest of it, tomorrow. It's sad seeing all the plunge into chaos and the eventual captivity into Babylon. It's just building up. So, thanks for joining me. I hope you guys have a great evening, morning, noon, wherever you're at. And as always, TTFN, ta-ta for now. Take care, God bless. Remember to put God first in everything you do. Have faith in Him, have trust in Him, and wait upon Him, and you'll never be sorry. See you tomorrow with the rest of 2 Kings, God willingly. Thanks again. Take care.